welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. I'm your host, Angela Stribling, and I had to get this party started with my version of Pillow Talk. I don't know how old you guys are or if you remember that song from back in the day, but Will Downing and Gerald Albright and Marcus Miller and I decided to put our own little stamp on it. Well, tonight we're going to pillow talk because that's what we do. And you've seen this handsome man's face and you've seen his sweetheart too. So ladies, take it easy. But he's been all over reality TV. And I'm so happy that he slowed down for just a minute to talk to us tonight. You remember him from Love and Marriage, DC. That's where he met his sweetheart. And now he's on Ready to Love. Please welcome my new friend. Oh my God, Clifton Pettie. Oh, what's that? How you doing? Welcome.
Good. How are you? I'm on Love and Marriage. You had it switched.
Love and Marriage. Yeah, that's right.
He's now on Ready to Love. Yes, I'm now. Sorry, I'm so now on Love and Marriage.
Reverse everything I just said.
Reverse.
Starting with Ready to Love, and that's where he met his sweetheart, which makes sense.
Yes. So now I'm on Love and Marriage DC.
Now you're on Love and Marriage DC. Yeah. Yes. So this thing. I mean, these types of shows are so fun to watch. But was it fun being a part of it, especially Ready to Love?
Ready to Love, well, they're both interesting. I never really saw myself doing reality TV. I actually fell into it. I didn't sign up for it. I don't know how they got my information, but, seriously. And once they started contacting me, I've rarely watched reality television. So once they contacted me, I said, let me take a look at the show because I had never seen it. And I did this, I said, well, what the hell? I don't have anything to lose at this point. It could be fun. Right. And that was my perception going into it. Fun. And look at me now.
Look at you now.
I have a pillow and I'm over here with Angela,
Pillow talking, yes. Big things, baby. Big things.
Big things.
It's funny. I had your other, I was going to say your better half on before she became your better half. And you two were still dating and you were on Ready to Love. I think she was in Mexico singing. She was over there performing. And, so you two were still going through the process and you were the fortunate ones to have found real love.
Yes.
And for people who watch these kinds of things, I mean, I've been on a reality show, not as a regular, not as a legitimate housewife, but I was on as representing Pillow Talk. But I know that there's drama and I know that the producers kind of, try to push you to be a little bit more dramatic. And then you don't know what you're going to get until the editing room floor.
Well,
right?
we don't have any executive rights to it or production rights. So, once they make that final cut, that's where it is. We see it just like you guys see it when it comes on television. So, we could look good in some scenes, we could look bad in others, just never know how it's going to actually look. So, my recommendation with that is, I'm always cautious with what I say and how I say it. So I pay attention to my words. And I remember, certain places where I was at, so I don't look like I'm lying, because sometimes, you may not record for a week or two and you forgot where you were. And then here's the scene. They bring you to ask you the same question and you have a different answer. So,
Right, exactly. Oh my gosh. And for me, I mean, I might not remember what I did last week. It's like, I'm so busy. And I don't know if something like that would work out for me. Plus, I suspect you have to have a certain temperament to be all right with the drama and not take it so personally.
Well, emotionally mature people, understand how to not take things personally. Sometimes if you are very emotional, you may not be able to take it, like someone who's emotionally stable could.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you said that because I wanted to talk about emotional maturity. And when you're in a full-on adult relationship, it's good if you can do that with someone who is emotionally mature. And if you are emotionally mature.
I agree.
Right? I mean, so you want to talk about what you think emotional maturity is?
So, I think emotionally mature people kind of observe their thoughts and feelings effectively to manage and communicate and cope with their emotions, right? And sometimes, we have issues doing that. we're human beings. I think we're all works in progress. Nobody's perfect.
That's
I
right.
with it. I think everyone, if anyone says I'm emotionally mature, I guarantee you're not, until when that argument comes, that emotionally mature stuff goes right out the window, right? You don't think about that. You don't think about, oh, let me figure out how I can, solidify this. A lot of times in an argument, unfortunately, we look at it as, who's going to win the argument or who can scream the loudest, etc. But it does take an emotionally mature person to, you know, be the bigger person in it.
Yeah, and you mentioned something that's so, I mean, that's crucial because I think you get to a point in your life, you have to decide, all right, I'm in this relationship. How invested am I? Do I want this to work? Is it
Mhm.
more important for me to be right, or is it more important for me to be loving?
Right.
And that's a big question because it takes emotional maturity. I keep wanting to say security, but emotional maturity to be able to fight better, to learn to fight better when you're in relationships. It's not always, it shouldn't always be about, I'm right and I know I'm right and
Yep.
you're so wrong, when you might very well be so right, but it doesn't make your partner the enemy. So
Totally
maybe,
agree.
it could be a situation where you could cut him a little bit of slack because the end game is more important than winning the argument, but it takes emotional maturity in order to figure that part out.
Yep.
And
And
like
sometimes
you said,
in those
those
arguments, we're sitting there, instead of understanding, we're over talking, right? And that's where a lot of things, you lose the understanding of the conversation or the argument because you're screaming and shouting over the other person.
right. Yeah. I mean, there, if you feel like, giving some examples of being in an emotionally immature situation, I know I've got a couple.
Well, I've definitely been in. I'm like I said, I think I'm a work in progress. So me, I think my emotionally immature trait for me is I'm tit for tat, right? If you go low, I'm going to hell, right?
Oh, oh,
and,
that's a good line.
and I
If
try
you
not
go
to.
low, I'm going there.
I work so hard on it. I really do. But I mean, for the most part, I feel like I'm a nice person until I'm crossed. Now, if you cross me, then I feel like, I'm never that bigger person, and I really work hard at it.
Yeah.
But that's my struggle as far as like that emotionally part. But I can show my emotions, but I can't say they're in a healthy way. At
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah, and I think that's really, I think a big part of emotional maturity is being able to recognize what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yes. Yep.
Because what you just displayed is you own it. You're like, listen, just don't piss me off because I'm not sure you want this
Yeah.
because, I'm working on this, but I'm still working on it. So you know this about me. And, being able to own it. I know I've been in situations where people don't want to acknowledge the stuff that they do, and instead,
Yes. Hmm.
or if you've ever been in a relationship with someone, new relationship, and they blame their ex for everything. They didn't do anything wrong. Everything was their ex's fault. The ex was terrible.
Oh my
That
goodness.
says to me that,
Yeah.
okay, it takes two. Nobody's perfect all the time in a relationship, and you're not
I
saying one thing
Yes.
about what you did. That's very telling.
Yes. Because and to be emotionally mature, you also have to take accountability. And if you don't take accountability, and you're always, the person that's receiving this, or, I was, like you said, the ex did this, ex did that, and it was
Right.
never you. So you really never learn to actually have that accountability trait because you're always, blaming it somewhere else.
That's
When the
it.
common and in a relationship, it's two people. And if you're the one talking about it and it's been repetitive, then the common denominator may be you.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think, you get to the point where you want real love and you're in a relationship and you love this person. I mean, from head to toe, you love this person.
Mhm.
But as you and I know, Clifton, nobody's perfect. We
Correct.
all have stuff. I mean, and though I hate to admit it, I'm sure I've got my own little faults.
We all do.
I mean, I
We-
suppose. So we all are flawed. We're flawed. So
yes.
when you're in a relationship, I think it takes an emotionally mature person to, first of all, acknowledge that. Know that while I'm looking at you, I'm looking at my sweetheart saying, he might be this and, he's got this going on. He's great, but he does this. He's could easily be doing the same thing about me. And so, with that in mind, it helps you have a little bit more compassion for each
It
other,
does. It
right?
does.
If winning is your end game.
Yes, and I think even in the midst of it, if you just sit there and just take a deep breath and like, all right, this is temporary. Like, everybody disagrees, right? No one is going to agree 100% of the time,
Right.
right? Not one person in a relationship is going to agree every day about every single thing. You can have an argument about she wanted pork chops for dinner and she made them fried, but you wanted them baked. So you're arguing about that.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? It'd be the dumbest situation that you're arguing about, but at the end of the day, the person you're arguing instead of like, you know what, this is the dumbest argument I ever had. What are we arguing about this for? But it takes the bigger person to do it.
It does. And to look and say, you know what? This person thought enough of me to make me some pork chops. To look at that, the compassion, and it's like, well, they are cooking for me. It might not be
Right.
exactly what I wanted, but they're trying.
They try.
And in the future, I can just maybe say something like, honey, whatever. It's like all kinds of ways to have peace. I mean, and I don't know about you, but I need peace in my home. I don't want it to be a battleground for
Oh
anything.
yeah. I mean, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It goes a long way,
It
you know,
does. Yeah.
or just, even if it came out the way that it sounded negative, you know what? I didn't mean it that way. This is how I meant it. And correcting yourself right then and there could
Yeah.
change the entire argument, conversation, etc.
Yeah. I love that. What do you think about just the periodic check-ins, and I mean, just saying, sometimes, hey, babe, how are things going in your mind, in our relationship? What, anything on your mind or anything that you might want to bring up? And I say that because oftentimes in relationships, especially relatively new relationships, I just got married a year ago, just celebrated 1 year in August. And so,
We're in the same boat.
right, we're in exactly the same boat.
You're a month before us. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
So the relationship is new
Hmm.
and we're so much in love. I mean, I love my husband so much. It's ridiculous. And I know that there are things that as the years go on,
Hmm.
things you just learn about each other and know about each other. And I feel like we know so much about each other, but there's still so much because it's still relatively new. And so sometimes you won't bring things up because you just don't want to rock the boat, or you're in a good place and you don't want to bring up the stuff that you know is negative, but you have to, because if you
Hmm.
don't bring it up, it's going to fester and
Yeah.
come out in a different way. Like you're frying pork chops. And I wanted to talk to you. It's really
Exactly. And
probably not about the pork chops.
then I was Muslim, so I don't eat that. Right. So
Okay.
exactly.
Usually it's about something else that you pissed me off and I haven't brought that up. So I'm going to take it out in these, other
Yeah.
passive aggressive ways. So it's good, sometimes to have these little check-ins where it's okay. Let's just open up the floor and I'm not going to be defensive about whatever you say. I'm just going to be open and, let's just deliver it, nicely to each
I
other.
think that's a great idea. I've never done that, but I like that idea.
It's a great
Yeah,
idea. And
because even in a relationship, I don't care how long you've been with someone,
right,
you're still learning them, right?
forever.
Every day you're learning them. You may know certain things about them. Oh, at 6 o'clock in the morning, he's definitely gonna be in the bathroom for 25 minutes. Or you know what I mean. You learn these things as you go along, but
Like, okay, that's just
right, that's it. That's his daily process, and
right.
but every day is a learning struggle because if you're not, so you have to take mental notes too. And if you're
Yeah,
not taking those mental notes about the person, you're not learning about them as time goes on. You still don't know them, and you
yeah,
probably, and I guess in my opinion, you probably really will never really know that person, but you just kind of learn them as you're moving and guiding through life.
right.
Mhm.
And like you said, it's a constant. And you always want to appear just wonderful in your mate's eyes.
Exactly.
I don't care how long you've been together. It's like, I just want him to always look at me a certain way. And I want
Hmm.
to look at him a certain way, along with being real, just being,
Right.
100%,
Yes.
just this is me. But I want you to, I still want you to look at me the way you do, and for us to just be just falling all over the place, sexy.
Yeah.
You
You want that look that they had when they first met you
know,
forever.
you
And
never
that's what
want.
everybody wants. But in the midst of an argument, you forget all about that look that they had when you first met them. I tell you that.
That's very true. Except the makeup sex can be really fun.
Oh yeah, now we making up is a great thing.
It's
If you
a
can.
great thing.
Oh yeah,
And, like you said, the taking notes and all that stuff, remembering and really openly listening, because you're constantly dropping hints. You
yes,
both are. But sometimes, I mean, it's good to just say it, or if it's something that, your partner could be doing something and just totally oblivious that it's getting on your nerves. They have no
yeah,
idea and
I,
would never know until you tell them. So
yep,
in those little ideas or those little forums, you could say, babe, the other night, we were having sex and you did blank, and that's not, please don't ever do that again.
yes. But you
Or,
know what? Sometimes it takes a strong person to say that too, because
right,
you could
but
have
you
seen
gotta say it. You gotta
the other
feel
person might have thought they were
this,
doing it. They were doing the damn thing, and they
doing it.
weren't. Right, and
Right.
you know what?
But in this relationship, I feel like it's I'm the one you have for the rest of your life. I
Hmm.
want you to only make love with me.
Hmm.
And I want it, and vice versa. So that being the case, I want to know the stuff you like. I want to figure that out, no matter how hard it is to
Oh
bring it
yeah.
up.
Oh yeah.
And so it's in those little conversations that you could say, because we're all not the same. I mean, that could have been in your last relationship. That could have been the thing that drove her bananas.
Hmm.
You tried on me. I'm like, what
What?
are you doing? You know what I
And
mean?
I totally understand. And then, but it also takes an emotionally mature person to receive constructive criticism when it comes to something so touchy.
It's
And sex is a touchy subject when if you're talking about sex and what the other person don't likes and you thought you were doing your thing, well, maybe you use too much teeth. You never know. You know what I mean? So like,
man, you don't know.
you never
And
know.
those intimate conversations it, it takes an emotional, mature person and relationship. And if
Right.
your end game is really wanting this to be the best relationship you've both ever had, you
Yes.
don't want to, I don't ever want to divorce my husband. I don't want him to ever even think about that. And, but it's important that all these little things, they add up. All the
It
things,
will.
your sex life, your, feeling secure, like really feeling like I'm your best friend and your best friend who
Yeah,
really wants the best for you
I
in
agree.
all circumstances. Life might be bringing you down, but I'm here solid as a rock.
Oh yeah. And
And, in order to get there though, this journey, not saying that you've got to do all of this at once, but the journey of finding a way to hear, a way to receive
mhm,
information that you might not want to hear, but not reacting defensively,
correct.
right? And being able to, on the other side, deliver it and to have your partner not
Not
react defensively,
yeah.
but knowing that, the whole idea is for us to get closer. And so in an emotionally mature relationship, you both have to deliver it in a nice, fair, sweet way that it's not going to be, accusatory, but
Yeah.
instead this is just to help us learn each other, because every human being is different. That's the
Yeah.
only reason that we're talking about this. So I'm not
Yeah.
accusing you of anything. I'm just saying that probably worked for them. For me, I would like it if you did this, or can we try this, or can we, you know what I mean? There's like
Yeah.
ways
So
in,
I know for me, I know that I'm a blunt person. And unfortunately, my bluntness can be mistaken for me having, being mean. And it's not meant that way. I
yeah,
just say what I feel and what's on my mind. And I don't, it's difficult for me to sugarcoat it because, you know, if you start sugarcoating a situation or scenario, it takes away from your reality of yourself for me. So like I understand, like, if you say certain things and it may be received harsh, and I don't even know how to deliver to the person where it's not received that way. Because if you give a disclaimer first, well, hey, this may sound harsh, but I hate it when you do this shit
I
here.
know.
You
Well,
know,
you know what? Yeah, but then I think, again, that's something you know about yourself.
yeah.
And so
So
that's something for
yep,
you to do some research on and figure it
I
out.
agree. Yep,
Because
and I
you
think
don't
that
really have to, when somebody says, that's just the way I am. Well, that's not
yes,
nice. That's
Not
not
that's no,
because
no.
you want to be loving and you want to be sweet to
Yep.
your partner. And so, but that, that's good that you can say that and you know that about yourself. And so your job is to figure out how to learn, and it's a work in progress, how to
We
learn
all
the way to say it, how to learn what are the trigger words that people don't like. One of the things they say, don't say you always do this or when, but
yeah,
rather when you do this, it makes me feel this, or
this
when
way.
you
Hmm.
know what I mean? There's a way to still be honest, but to still deliver it in a loving way. And that's
Yes.
what you have to figure out.
And yes, and that's I know myself, and that's probably been one of my hugest hurdles. I've been like you said, you got married and you wanted your husband to love you forever. I've been married twice before.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so I know that, it takes work, right? No one gets
Yes.
married to get divorced. When you get married, you don't think about I'm going to marry her and then divorce her in 2 years. You don't think about that. You think
Right.
about
Maybe.
love and
Hopefully
happiness,
not. Yeah.
futuristic life down the line. You don't think about anything like that.
Yeah.
But just so happens sometimes life takes over, and certain
Different
things
things
are.
happen. But I think, I mean, conversations like we're having tonight help you stay there. It
Yeah,
helps, right? It's
yeah,
like, because there are things, all of us, if we're being honest, I mean, there's stuff, it's not necessarily the same things that you have, but I do things, I'm sure. We
yeah.
all do things that your mate just doesn't like.
I
And
agree.
our mates in the past, humans will never like. There are things that, certain men can do that women don't necessarily like, but he learns because he wants to be good to his woman. He wants
Woman.
to
Mhm.
treat her like the queen that she is, and he wants her to hear what he's saying. So the important part of hearing it is to learn how to deliver it in a way that she can really get this information in a way that's not hurtful. And
Yes.
so that's the research. That's the research. And like you said, we're all works in progress.
I that as we are, and we just hope that we always get better with time, and
Yeah,
we learn from our mistakes to try not make the same ones over and over again. Otherwise, you're stuck in the spinning wheel. So
that's so true.
yeah,
I love it. And this whole thing of adulting and just being emotionally mature when you're in a relationship
oh yeah,
that you really care about, like one that you really want to work. I mean, there might have been times when you were younger in relationships and you were just trying to figure it out. You're just out here having a good time, and you'll date
yeah,
somebody, and if it doesn't work out, you just move on.
yes, I agree.
So as you mature and you find someone that you really get, and they get you, and they check off a lot of the boxes, then you figure out, okay, what are some of the boxes that we need to work on? And I guess that's where the emotional maturity, I guess, comes in. The fact that you're willing to, like you said, it takes work. And
Yes,
that's the work, just getting uncomfortable, hearing stuff that you don't really want to
you
hear,
want
but
to hear.
okay, I am going to work on this,
Yes,
and commit to
but then
that.
also I think what comes with that is with emotional maturity is also knowing when to say stop or when it's over, because sometimes you'll stay in a situation where you know you've been having a repetitive behavior for so long. It's like, well, why am I here any longer, right? And it takes an emotionally mature person to say, you know what, I can't take this anymore, this is not what I want to do. Or it takes an emotionally mature person to say, you know what, it's time to leave the club now. I've been here for 4 hours. It takes an
That's
emotionally
right.
mature person to stop a lot of things in life, right?
Yeah.
So it
Even
wasn't to
going to the club,
space. Yeah,
always having, feeling like you got to go to the club, you know,
exactly.
you, you figure out, okay, it depends on your relationship. It depends on the
Yeah.
couple. There's some couples who that's what they do. He likes to hang out with the guys. Sometimes she hangs out with her girls,
Mhm.
do whatever you do. But then there are other couples, maybe she doesn't like to go to the club and he's still clubbing with his buddies.
But
And it's time to take a look at that.
yes, yes, I totally
Right?
agree.
It's like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you
Yep.
figure out
So
what is good for me, but also what's good for my family right now.
yes, and you have to figure out that balance. You have to have balance, and you have to also be able to compromise,
Yeah.
because you don't want to be so far up under someone either where that's bothersome to them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
a little clingy, like
Exactly.
oxygen.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's so true.
yes, I see it that way too.
You're in, so these two reality shows, that are, I guess, one that you kind of graduated from, and
Yes.
Love and Marriage DC, but they're all about relationships. Being in these shows, do you feel like it's taught you about anything about relationships?
Well, it's taught me one thing, and that is that everyone is in your business because you put your business out
Ooh,
there, right? So everyone thinks that they know, when you meet someone, they think they know you, based on
yeah,
what they see on television. And, although you may have seen portions or pieces of me on TV, that's not necessarily who I am daily on a daily basis. You just saw me in that particular
yeah,
situation or environment, right? So you're still learning, even if you're watching, you're still learning that person. You never can say, well, I know Clifton because he did this on TV. No, that's not true. Right. You know Clifton because he did this at one particular scene that probably took 3 hours. Right. That's
right.
what you know me from. So I've learned a lot from it. I've learned that, it takes patience.
Hmm.
It takes a lot of times not to say certain things that could spark an argument, right? Or, just shutting the F up sometimes also helps, right? It's supposed to like engaging in the argument if you see it coming. So, um, I'm pretty much, I think I would say that I'm pretty much a cool, calm, and collective person, but don't push me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I think my personality is. It takes me a lot to get to, to the, from A to Z, but I can get there real quick if you press that one button.
Okay. But you know what, Clifton, sometimes
Oh, yeah.
that's useful.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
it's useful to be able to go there and just shut some things down. It's like, okay,
Yes.
you're thinking I'm nice, and I'm nice, but
Yeah.
if
Well,
you go
see,
low, I'm going to
yeah,
hell.
I'm going to hell. And then you got to also remember that on these shows that we're on, a lot of times we don't necessarily know the folks that we're filming with. We haven't known them for years of time, so we're
Right.
learning them too, right? So then you have personalities. You have people that have multiple personalities. So like you never know what you're getting into,
Oh,
right?
yeah. And then you get some people who are they'll do anything just to be on camera and
Everyone
create
wants to
a
be
storyline.
everyone wants to be Nene Leaks, or
Right.
right,
Exactly. They
just
want to
look
get
like
more
them.
money, make sure they're, dramatic enough to keep getting called back.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
There are definitely folks that are like that as well. So
But kudos to you for hanging in there, because it's not bad for your profile, having a platform like that, right? I mean, it's good for
yeah,
other things.
it's great as far as like the exposure, but I also think that um on the back end of it, you have to have a certain level of confidence to put your life out there for people to see and
Yeah.
critique. And you
Yeah.
have to have balls for it because
Yeah.
people, let's just say you get into an argument with someone, well, people that are watching are going to pick a side, right? And they're going to say, did this
Right.
person did something wrong? This person did something wrong. So then if you're looking at someone critiquing you, and I'm like, well, I'm not that way. Well, that's what they received from watching it, right? So you have
Phew.
to be open-minded to receive that level of criticism that comes with it.
Oh gosh, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
It seems like it would be a lot. I mean, because it's bad enough being in the moment, it seems.
Oh,
And
yes.
just getting through this argument or whatever the case might be with that person, and then caring about how you're perceived in the comments, because everybody's got a comment.
They
And like
do.
you
And
said, people think they know you, and yeah,
they
that's a
don't.
lot. Like I
And
said, I
imagine filming something, maybe you filmed it 6 months ago and it's finally going to air. So then now you have to relive it again with everyone else as it's on
Mm,
television of everything that happened, right? That also can spark up other things, So, it's like rolling the dice. You don't know what you're going to get, when it
so
comes on TV, certain things that you may have not have seen are there now. And I'm like, well, you got to learn to deal with that one, So
right.
it's definitely a huge task.
It's huge. You don't know how they're going to edit it. But then, so you're not just a pretty face. You're not just, and thanks, by the
Me,
way, for
pretty
giving us
face.
all this.
I don't have a pretty face.
He's giving us body on the pillows. And tell Joy I said thank you for sharing you with us.
I will.
She's out there in the back. She's like, I have had it, you guys.
Right.
Thanks, honey. But you're doing other things. I mean, reality TV is what
So
we all know you from. But what else do you do?
So I have a few government contracts, and I also have a few private industry contracts. So I'm a
Nice.
project manager by heart. I manage contracts from inception to conception, right? So from beginning to end, I manage a budget, and you know, Washington D.C. is a huge um, place for a huge environment for all of the government contracts. Any
Oh,
of the
yes.
our
Biggest.
defense is here. The Pentagon is here, so our level of defense is right here in D.C. So
Nice.
the contracting agencies and companies kind of circle around those for the area, and you know, I've been so lucky to have been successful in obtaining contracts and making a life doing that.
That's awesome. Good for you.
And then outside of that, one of my other part-time jobs is I've created a beard oil, and
Wow.
yep, and I've been distributing that, so that's been doing pretty well. But you
Very
know,
smart.
yeah, yes,
So yeah, do you
I don't
use
sleep
your
much.
television platform for the beard oil?
Oh yeah, I've had it on. It's been on Fox 5. I had it
Excellent.
on the shows. So yeah, absolutely. For it definitely helps with the exposure and marketing and so forth. But um, nothing is more helpful than you doing it yourself, and you put in those long hours, losing sleep at night, and killing yourself. Trying to take care of a family. So yeah,
Labor of love, though. Labor of
labor
love.
of love. There
The
it
heck
is.
of business. So tell us the name of the beard oil for
The
those
beard
who.
oil is called CNC beard oil. It's named after my sons. All of our names start with C. My oldest son, his name is Clifton. I'm the fourth. He's the fifth.
Nice.
And my youngest, his name is Carter. So hopefully, my thought behind that was maybe one day it could be a legacy. My dad made a beard oil. It did well, and we're still making it. He showed us the recipe, and it
Oh, nice.
helps them move something. If not, then it's one of the businesses. So
There you
I
go.
don't just put my foot in one thing. I dip it in all parts of the water, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean.
Spread it out.
I'm gonna spread it out. Yes.
Go with what's working. And how can people get CNC beard
So
oil?
you can get it on my Instagram. I have an Instagram, it's CNC Beard Oil. So it's at CNC Beard Oil, and they can also get it on www.cncbeardoil.com.
Oh, that's easy. That's good
Oh,
branding. Yeah,
yep,
just make it
and
really
it's
easy.
you can find it on my personal Instagram too, because I definitely market it there. So
Which
if you
is
guys to follow me there, it's at Clifton the Fourth on Instagram and at Clifton the Fourth on Twitter, which I haven't really been on Twitter, but since the show's coming back on and a lot of people are talking, I have some things to say.
okay. There you go. So it's X, right? X, Twitter.
Yeah. Oh my, you know what? You're right. I forgot. They changed the name.
Because I just, yeah, I maybe I'll get back on there. I just
I,
figured maybe Elon Musk.
oh yeah. I haven't really been a Twitter fan, but I'm gonna get on there. I'm well, X fan.
Youthful. It's
Mama name on Twitter, I'm gonna call it Twitter.
right. Everybody knows what you're talking about. It's like
Exactly.
Twitter, Twitter, IG. But Clifton, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. Hope to
Yeah,
have you
I'm a
come
huge
back.
fan. Yeah, definitely come back. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll have a lot more pillows next time as well. I'm be
look,
covered in pillows.
nobody's looking at the pillows. Trust me. We're looking at you.
Well, I'll be back for sure.
You're awesome. Yeah, definitely come back for sure. Congratulations on everything. Successful
Thank you. I
TV
really appreciate it.
shows. Being married to such a sweetheart, Joy, is amazing.
She's a
And
sweetheart sometimes. Don't let me.
the only parts I know, she shows me her sweet.
The emotionally matureness in me will allow me to say sometimes yes.
I love that. That's the theme for tonight.
Yes,
Emotional
honesty.
maturity. That's awesome. And yeah, continued success will definitely. Maybe we'll have you both back together.
Oh, sure. We can be in the pillow. She can have her bonnet on, and then I'm,
We're gonna lose the
I'll have
fun.
my do-rag on. We can get real comfortable.
Get in trouble. I love it. It's a party.
It's a party here on the pillows. Yes.
Happy holidays to you,
Same to
Clifton.
you. Thank you.
Thanks for just being amazing. This was a fun
All right. Bye-bye.
conversation. Bye. Wow, that is Clifton Pettie here on Pillow Talk with Angela. That was a fun conversation. That was my first time meeting him. I mean, I've seen him just like you guys have on reality TV, but it's a whole different thing just talking to him, just one-on-one. Beautiful. So yeah, CNC beard oil or seed oil. I'm going to go to his Instagram and get it straight. But make sure that you follow him. I think the best thing to do is go to Clifton the Fourth, and he's on Instagram. And as he said, he's also on Twitter. And make sure that you support him. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So thank you again for watching. This is going to be on radio. It'll be on terrestrial radio on Friday, of course, WHUR, Jam 98, B Spire TV, and it's going to be on 135 NPR stations across the country. That I keep bringing it up because I'm so excited to finally be syndicated. Yay! Thank you all. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for your support. And until next time, thank you for watching Pillow Talk with Angela. Have a good night.